Okay, we are talking movies. Happy haircut, Luke and myself, in case you didn't notice. Let's go around the room, talk about last movie we saw.
I had the pleasure of seeing Skyrim this weekend. Skyfall. Another great game, though, by the way. No, Skyfall was great. Just exceeding my expectations. Probably one of my favorite movies of the year so far. Just good action, good story. Sam Mendes did a really great job. Visually astounding, and the acting's good. And it's a little, Bond's got a little bit of his humor back, too, which is a welcome. It's welcome. And, yeah, Judi Dench was great. And just go see it. You won't be disappointed. A+.
The last film that I watched is a French film called Holy Motors, and it premiered at Cannes this past year, and it's causing quite a stir. It's kind of a really interesting movie. It's about this guy who drives around in a limousine. Well, he's driven around in a limousine, and he basically changes into a different person, and he has these appointments that he gets paid for, and like in one scene he dresses up as like this green little monster midget and runs around a cemetery eating flowers and attacking people before he kidnaps Eva Mendes and licks her armpit and all kinds of other stuff. In another scene he dresses up as himself and then kills another guy playing himself. And the movie is basically about the death of golden cinema, the golden age of cinema, and how digital filmmaking is ruining filmmaking techniques these days. I don't think you're gonna really get much out of it watching it. It's basically 2 hours of vignettes with the same actor playing different roles. I don't think you're gonna understand it. I don't think I even understand it, but you will not be bored for 2 hours if you watch this movie. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Maybe watch it in parts. couple scenes a night.
Well, the last movie I saw probably wasn't as good as those two last movies, and it also kind of leads into what we're going to talk about today. But I watched the movie called The Campaign. I can agree with how some people said it was kind of nice to watch after the election because it was just really lighthearted. It seemed like, but it's obviously Will Ferrell, pitting up against Zach Galifianakis, who is playing the same role that he plays in every other movie, because I think it's just what people want, He just acts like this kooky little guy, and he's always got to have dogs with him in every single movie now. He's got to have at least 1 or 2 dogs. I don't know. I didn't really like it very well.
Chinese dogs.
It's only 80 minutes, but I felt I was dozing in and out. And, when it was over, I decided, I really don't need to go back and watch maybe the minute or two that I missed, 20 minutes ago. But I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it, which is unfortunate. But it's not like I had high expectations or anything like that. It was just kind of goes back into the whole comedies these days where, they're either very hit and miss. So
I like that, too. I watched that this weekend. I was one of the people who enjoyed it. I think post-election, it was crazy and over the top, but wasn't necessarily that far from the truth. Like the whole facial hair thing. I know somebody else's facial hair, the Taliban. Just I just really enjoyed it. I needed, it's good to yeah. It's good to laugh at something like that after we just went through that and had all the build up for the last couple months. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't enjoy any movie that's 80 minutes, honestly, just because it's 80 minutes.
My favorite part was, sorry.
Go ahead.
My favorite part was Zach's introduction, introducing himself at the dinner party, or at the brunch, and it was just talking about his dogs for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought that was really
There were
great.
a lot of good moments, but I mean, the good moments were spread out too far from one another.
I was actually impressed that he kept the North Carolina accent the whole movie. I thought that was pretty good. I mean, and he kind of had his little effeminate twist on it too. I mean, which he's done before, but I really liked it. So and I think I kind of had low expectations going in. I tried not to get too hyped up about it, which which with any Will Ferrell movie is a good idea.
Exactly.
Anyway, moving on. On to the campaign. I watched it, I guess, a little bit in preparation for what we're going to talk about today, since the elections are now done and over. We thought we'd talk about political movies. First and foremost, congratulations to Barack for getting reelected. See, somehow we're going to have to figure out how we can reelect him again. But anyway, that's my political statement again.
We just
So
lost
yeah.
10 viewers.
That's okay. Republicans can't work a computer. But anyway, I'll stop talking. Political movies. What are some? When you say political movies, what first pops into your head? What do you get? What do you get?
Elections.
Yeah, elections behind the scenes of campaigns, deals, suits.
Conspiracies, I think, for me. That's one of them.
Yeah.
When I was making my list, that's one of the things that kept popping up on mine was a lot of conspiracy
Thrillers.
plots to kill and things like that.
Well, and I think one thing that's important when you think about a political movie, it doesn't necessarily have to be about American politics. It can just be, politically charged, or wherever it comes from. A few things that I wrote, and a couple of really good ones that stood out in my mind pretty recently. Last King of Scotland, not an obviously American one, but a very good movie.
Very well acted.
Very well acted and pretty dark too. I mean, I think they really captured the essence of what it's like to live. Is it Ghana? Is that the country, or Uganda? Uganda. I'm sorry. But yeah, I thought it was very impressive and hard to watch. That's certainly a lot of, there's some torture scenes and stuff.
Those torture scenes get pretty intense.
Another recent one was Ides of March. Obviously, great cast there with Clooney and Ryan Gosling and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Oh, and Paul Giamatti. I mean, who's not going to watch a movie with those four guys? Seriously. But I thought that was probably one of the best political movies I've seen recently, because I think it really, it was definitely more of an inside look at kind of how things happen. Of course, there's funny political movies too, like Election, which is really funny.
I love Election.
Bullworth.
Oh, Bullworth is great.
Yeah. I haven't seen that one. I've been asking people for favorite political movies, and that seemed to be one that came up a couple times.
That's
so I haven't seen that one. I think my favorite. Sorry to keep talking here, but my favorite political movie has to be Wag the Dog. I think that it's obviously just kind of a satire on the whole American political system.
It's on my list.
And it's just phenomenal movie. We've talked about theater experiences before, and I had the pleasure of seeing that movie in the theater with a couple really good friends in high school and one of my friends' dads. And there's a scene in that movie, I don't know if you've seen it, but basically they hire Willie Nelson to write a song about this fake guy that died in this war. And when Willie starts playing that song in the movie, my friend's dad, who was with us, started laughing out loud. The whole theater was staring at us. He was hyperventilating and snorting through his nose, and of course, then we just started laughing. It was certainly something I'll never forget. Great theater experience, and obviously, probably that movie resonates with me a little bit more because I always think about that. But yeah, it's such a great movie. It's because it's really a satire on the American political system, like I said, but it's so well done. It's just slick, it's just...
A lot has to do with David Mann.
I was just saying,
writing the screenplay for that.
Yeah.
He is one of the most talented... He's got to be one of the most talented writers out there. I mean, he's directed a handful of films too, and those films are incredible. But I think a lot has to do with that. And
it was definitely an icon in the literary world.
Yeah, I need to watch that movie again.
Me too. I enjoy it more and more every time I see it. And another thing with political movies too, even though it is a satire, I mean, I don't usually go into conspiracy theories of my own, but I feel like that's that could be legitimate.
You feel like it could be real.
Because we don't know exactly what's going on.
Well, and
I don't really want to know what's
that
exactly
movie's so well done. It's just like, I could pull this off,
Yeah, De Niro,
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. Another Clooney film, Good Night and Good Luck. think that's another great. Clooney directed Ides of March, so I thought I'd bring up Good Night and Good Luck. That's another really great political movie in my mind.
It is.
Nice little calm black and white film.
Yeah, just kind of really gets a feel of that time.
It's his best movie, I think.
It certainly could be. Yeah.
I wrote down a bunch. I'll just name off a few. JFK is one of my favorite movies ever. In the Loop is another.
I was
That
thinking
movie
about
is
that.
incredible.
Another hilarious
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
That was on my-
Who's in that one?
It's a bunch of.
It's a British
Gandolfini.
movie,
Oh.
but they got some American actors in it.
Jim
But-
I think you
Gandolfini's
took
in
it home,
it.
maybe, to watch. It has the blue cover. A lot of British people swearing. throughout
Especially
the
one,
entire-
I can't think of his name, but one guy goes off on tyrants every 5 minutes.
And
I
they're
think I
really
have
good
seen
tyrants.
that.
And it
I
actually
have
kinda
seen
has
that,
a-
actually.
I don't want to ruin anything, but it actually I felt kind of like a little saddened towards the end of the movie because some of the characters were just so ruthless and they were trying to do bad things. I don't want to give too much of the plot away, but yeah, there's definitely a bitterness to it too, you know, sourness. But I mean, it's really, really funny.
It's a really funny
It's
movie.
hilarious.
Really recommend it. And he has a new show on HBO, Veep,
Yep, which...
which is pretty much the American version of it, almost.
also, In the Loop is
Goofier.
actually kind of like an extension of a British show called it's either In the Thick of It or The Thick of It.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't remember what it's called, but it's the same makers and everything. I think it's even the same Scottish guy is in it as well. So if you like that, then check that show out as well.
Yeah,
Sweet.
very sappy.
Yeah, I really enjoy that movie. Any movie that makes me laugh while I'm watching it by myself.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
Laugh out
yes,
loud.
yes.
Yeah.
It's a thumbs up for me.
Some of the political movies I could think of, kind of stuck in the 70s in this one, but
Which is a great era.
yeah, it is. It's exciting. I will say Milk is a really good one. Great about gets you inspired to do like grassroots political stuff. Really shows how far America has gone with equal rights and but it's a really inspirational story. Just really great performances, and then kind of a Nixon fanatic, so I'll say Oliver Stone's Nixon. It's pretty heady. I need to watch it again, but would like to see it. And then another political funny movie I think is pretty good, Dick, with Kristen Dunst and Michelle Williams. It's a silly movie, but it's really it really gets the case of Watergate really well. I don't know, it's kind of underrated gem, maybe because I watched it when I was young and kind of
I've never seen it.
interested me, but yeah, it's actually really good. It's a underrated gem, but not saying there's other great ones though too, like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, of course, and
All the President's Men would be another.
oh
good
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention that
I
one
had that
too.
one written down.
That
Yeah.
could certainly be my favorite if we were talking about political movies. I love that movie.
Another one, I don't know, I guess it doesn't fall under necessarily like American politics, but it's kind of, I guess American politics is involved in, I think it's Lions for Lambs, it's pretty recent. It's another
Yes.
Robert Redford film.
Tom Cruise, Meryl Streep
Meryl
is in it.
Streep. It's another short film, but I thought
It's
it was
really short.
very, very good. Even if Tom Cruise is in it, I just thought it was really well done.
Directed by Robert Redford, maybe?
I think so.
Yeah. He certainly had a hand in it.
I think that was like one of the last MGM
produced.
movies that was made, and they went bankrupt.
But that's certainly a really good movie, just because it kind of focuses on some of the war aspects that we're going through, now, or at least in the last 10, 20 years, and it kind of, just kind of focuses on a couple soldiers and where they came from and whatnot. So it's a very, very good movie if you haven't seen it. Robert Redford does a very good political movie.
Oh yeah, he's very
Very political.
yeah, very smart man.
I have some others too. Spartan, another David Mamet movie, which is somewhat political, more thriller than anything. The Manchurian Candidate.
Oh yeah.
Original?
I really like the remake too, so I could vouch for either of them myself.
Okay.
Prefer the original.
Yeah.
The Contender with Joan Allen is
Oh,
a really good movie as well.
Forget about that one. That's a good.
13 Days with Kevin Costner.
Oh, that's a really good one too.
An underrated gem that's on the Criterion Collection is Blowout by Brian De Palma. Which is
love that
Which
one.
is a really, it's a
Oh,
fantastic
yes, yeah,
political.
What's that movie about? I've never seen
Blowout is a semi-remake of a British film called Blow Up, where a photographer is taking pictures in a park one day, and when he puts his pictures together, he discovers that he caught a murder. And Blowout is about a sound man for the movies going out one night, taking sounds, recording sounds to put into movies, and he ends up recording a death on screen, and he has to put the sound together with a film that was recorded by someone else. And it's
John Travolta, isn't it?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Wow.
It's a
I
great
never knew
one.
what that movie
I
was
think
about.
it's
fantastic.
That sounds
It's great.
intriguing.
It is
It
really
really
good.
gets down the paranoia of being watched and listened to and
So Travolta's in the Blowout one.
Blowout.
And that's
yes.
the Criterion.
It's probably his best performance that he's
Yeah.
ever given, I think.
Yeah,
What year was this? 80... Oh, 80 something?
I think 1980 actually.
It's around
It felt like it was like right after the centennial.
Crazy.
For Phil, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a big thing at the end with.
Yeah, just a lot of fire. Yeah, it kind of gets that in the spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dirty little movie, but it's
If you've seen a lot of the Paul movies where his tricks with split
it
screens,
just feels
and
dirty.
A lot of tracking shot. It does feel dirty, actually. I will agree.
Yeah,
With that. So.
but yeah, great shots.
Yes.
Another newer movie that I think kind of got dismissed, but I watched and really enjoyed was State of Play on Russell
Yes.
Crowe and
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Oh, that is a good one.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of it's fictional, but it certainly has real storylines in there, and it just I thought about when you said dirty movie because it kind of made you feel almost ashamed just a little bit the way it was presented. Like, gosh, what are we trying to get away with? That type of thing. So, another newer one that I saw. I'm trying to. I think I have the name wrong. There was a newer movie with Tom Hanks. It's a political movie, probably last
Charlie
year.
Wilson's War?
Yes. I wrote down Michael Clayton. That's not it. Michael Clayton.
That's
was,
a good
not-
political
yeah.
I don't know
movie,
if it's political.
No, that's a
Michael
that's
Clayton was good,
corporate.
but I wrote.
okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's still a great movie that you should check out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wrote down Michael Clayton, but I was thinking of Charlie Wilson's War, and I really liked the Charlie Wilson's War. I thought, well, both those movies are a little bit slow, but I really liked the Charlie Wilson's War because isn't Philip Seymour Hoffman in that too?
and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
great in that movie.
Yeah.
I think a lot has to do with, like David Mamet had a lot to do with Wag the Dog's success. I think Aaron Sorkin's screenplay had a lot to do with Charlie Wilson's War because both movies, the dialogue is just so quick and funny and witty and
Characters and foretelling what learn from our mistakes.
yeah.
I guess trying to think about other like world politics. The Queen would be an interesting one. Like the internal affairs of modern day monarch. Or then I know I keep mentioning this movie, but Persepolis. It's only really political in the first half, but it's kind of the perspective of a political revolution. Really recommend that one. Just how society changes. And also, speaking of 70s, Munich always keeps popping in my head. Not directly political, but they're killing for a country, but they're not killing for the country. They're spies, but fighting terrorism with terrorism. There's a lot of heady stuff, but really great movie, Munich.
Yeah, another underrated movie as far as I'm concerned is a movie in the 70s called The Parallax View with Warren Beatty, where he stumbles onto a plot to, I can't remember, it's been years since I've seen it, but a plot to kill a political figure, and he keeps getting in over his head, and there's some terrific scenes of, like, edge of your seat thrill ride. I recommend that one.
What was it called again?
It's called The Parallax View. I really enjoyed that one. A couple more foreign movies. The Battle of Algiers.
I was just thinking that in my head because of Munich.
Is probably one of the best ones that I've seen.
What was that called?
The Battle of Algiers. Basically, I think it was France had a hold on
Yeah.
Algeria.
Is it on the Criterion
It's on the Criterion
Collection?
Collection, and
It's colonial.
the people fought back. And what's really interesting about the Battle of Algiers, I think it came out in the late 60s, the film, but it took place in the 50s.
But yeah, it came out.
Before we invaded Iraq, they actually showed the movie to military heads in our government, and they said, if we invade Iraq, this is what's going to happen. Because the movie, the Battle of Algiers is about people fighting back through guerrilla warfare with like bombs in supermarkets and almost drive-by shootings. Yeah. They showed it to military, the government heads, and they said, if you invade Iraq, this is what's going to happen. And they basically ignored it, and that's what happened. Yeah. So that's kind of an interesting movie. It's really good.
Great one.
Another one, if you have a whole night to dedicate to a movie, is Carlos, which is also on the Criterion Collection. It's a 5-hour movie about the Jackal, who basically ransacked Europe for decades, just bombing.
And South America too.
South America, but what's his name? Edgar Rodriguez or Martinez, something like that.
He's great.
He's great. He
speaks like 5 different languages.
He learned 5 languages for the movie. He gained weight for the movie. He lost weight for the movie. I mean, there's one entire sequence, a hostage sequence, that's 2 hours of the movie, and it could be its own movie in itself. And
that was.
It's a searing movie about political warfare that I think is really, really well done.
I think it's also on Netflix as well.
I think it is. Yep.
And then, on that same note, another Criterion movie that's about political warfare, Che Guevara. I didn't know too much about him when I watched, or before I saw the movie, and I didn't feel like I knew him too much more, except for what he went through. And maybe that's just not me knowing about it enough, but it wasn't a bad movie. But Benicio del Toro was really great. Maybe if I knew a little more into his history or something, I probably would have enjoyed it more. But it's pretty much 2 movies. One is about him winning the Cuban Revolution, which I'll get back to in 1 second, and then the other was about his death in Bolivia, I believe, in South America, and it's pretty much him doing the same thing, but one winning and one losing, and just kind of his progress in his life. And then, speaking of the Cuban Revolution, Before Night Falls, Julian Schnabel movie with Javier Bardem, and it's about the Cuban Revolution and the man who helped support it, but then the country itself turned against him, and he had to flee, and was imprisoned and stuff. From 2000, really recommend
That's a great performance by Javier Bardem, by the way.
But that's it.
Another one, also in the Criterion Collection. I have not seen it. I've wanted to, but I've not been able to find it. It's called Z. I think it's from Greece.
And
it actually got a lot of award attention, I think, back when it was released. I haven't seen it, but I hear it's good enough to where I can recommend it, I guess.
Yeah,
so.
And that director is a very political director, too.
Well, Greece, I mean, what do you...
You brought up Che, and I haven't seen that, but I've seen, and I guess I don't know how factual it is, but the Motorcycle Diaries, which is basically about him. Like I said, I'm not sure how factual it is. I think it's more maybe based on him.
Yeah, it's about before he...
Yeah, it's kind of
his beginning.
And that movie, it's a foreign film. I think it should be a Criterion someday, but I think that movie's absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's just such a great. It's a great story. It's a little long, but it's just a great movie. And I think sometimes when people watch foreign films, they really struggle with subtitles or whatever. That's just one of those movies where you just start it and you're just like, oh wow, this is awesome. Like I've tried to watch Das Boot a couple times, and I just. Maybe it's just not interesting enough, and then the fact that you have to read it, I know the movie takes a little while to get going, but
it's actually a very good movie.
But Motorcycle Diaries is,
I
mean, it floored me the first time I saw it, and I watched it 3 more times, and I think it's a very, very good movie.
I've wanted to, but
it's a really good human picture, not political, but just a nice movie about life.
I think we're missing a classic, though, aren't we?
Yeah.
Go ahead and say it.
Dr. Strangelove.
Yep.
Oh.
One of the best political movies.
It is.
Ever made. And probably will stand the test of time.
Stand for right?
Forever.
Yeah.
I have not seen
One of the
that
best
one.
black comedies you probably ever see.
Yeah, it gets creepier every time I watch it. Like,
I think
it does, yeah.
It becomes so more real after you watch it, after what we go through.
but you still laugh a
Yeah.
lot.
What's his name? Peter Sellers.
Peter
plays
Sellers.
3 different roles in the movie and nails
And he
every
nails
single
them.
one. Yeah.
And George C. Scott, he
Great
is so
performance.
funny in that movie. And true, like a honest and true to life.
And just greatly shot. And if you're a fan of Simpsons, there's so many references to that movie and about every other episode. And
Oh, really?
yeah, I know it's every other.
I haven't watched The Simpsons in forever, so
the old ones especially.
yeah.
Yeah, just great lines. One of my favorite scenes is when he's calling the president of Russia, and he goes, "Oh, I don't care about that." And he goes, "Well, no, I do care about you." And he's like comforting the Russian president because he's kind of a baby in a way. I don't know. It was just really subtle humor and just great lines.
Yeah.
And even if you don't like Kubrick, you'll like this movie.
I think so, yeah.
When we decided that we were going to talk about this last week, I really wanted to research when was the first, like, obviously fictional, but when was the first movie about an American president? You know, when did that come out? I couldn't, and I wish I would have researched it more, but I just couldn't think of.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, I mean, there had to be a certain point where obviously, you know, movies aren't thousands of years old, but there had to be a certain point like, okay, it's okay to make a movie about a president now. You know,
I don't know.
Well,
the first one, I know one of the first ones that I saw was Young Mr. Lincoln.
Young Lincoln.
Young Lincoln.
By,
And
Ford?
Criterion Collection.
It is actually. It is on the Criterion Collection. That just shows that they have the best taste in political movies, I think.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. It's about his time as a lawyer leading up to before he becomes president. But Henry Ford gets a great performance in that. So
Yeah,
or
I
Peter,
hear-
is it Henry? Or?
Henry Ford. I'm trying to think. And it was the Capra directed it.
I
I,
think
can't
so.
remember who directed it now. I don't feel
But
bad.
it's a great movie.
Yeah, good movie. I know I haven't seen it actually, but no, I was thinking that one too. Birth of a Nation. Has
that one came to mind too.
There's
yeah.
Congress scenes
Yeah.
and stuff. It's extremely offensive now, but that's the only other.
It's kind
political-
of banned for a while, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever have to go to any film study thing, you're guaranteed to watch it. And you understand why structurally, but it's really offensive now.
It is offensive, but I mean, from what I understand, it's one of the most influential films ever made
Oh,
in
it
terms
is.
of filmmaking. You
Yeah,
know? So,
yeah. Oh, extremely.
yeah.
Well, and the president at the time, he said a quote, and this is like writing history with lightning. I believe it was President Wilson. But he said they never saw it, but they put it on the thing anyway as kind of a propaganda, like the president likes it. So I don't know, maybe that's kind of a
That
political,
was the first
so-
movie I thought of when you brought that up was Birth of a Nation as well.
yeah. I'm sure there's some.
I'm sure there's some out there too, yeah, that precede that. But
research project for next time.
Or like super old movies like Tender. That's like from like 2000.
yeah.
Just kidding. Bad joke.
Okay, this has been Talking Movies. One subject, 28 minutes. How about that? But anyway, thank you for joining us when we talked about political movies. There's obviously a lot out there, so young directors, if you want to make a movie that eventually goes to the Criterion Collection, make it about politics, right? I think that's the moral of the story here. But anyway, this has been Talking Movies. We're a division of Metal Faker Productions. Find us on Facebook. Thank you, and have a good day.
Bye.